All right. Hello and welcome to College Life and Strategies. My name is Claudine Kroom and I am going to be your professor for this semester. I am doing this short video to basically introduce you to our classroom and how to navigate our classroom. And then also I'm going to go over some of the week one information that you need and assignments. So that way you kind of know where to go for week one. And then I'm just going to show you a few other things and kind of go over a few other items for our classroom, just so you're kind of aware and you're able to, get off on the right foot. So basically, when you log into our Canvas classroom, you're going to basically see this page that you see here that I am sharing my screen. You'll see any other classes that you may have, but I'm going to go ahead and enter this particular College Life and Strategies class. And basically, after you click on that, you're going to see this screen. And this is basically the home screen of our classroom. The home screen always pops up with recent announcements is basically the first thing that pops up. And then you're going to actually start seeing weekly folders at this point when you scroll down. So I go over this just because every professor obviously will construct their class a little bit differently. They may put things in different places, and so it may be confusing, especially even if you've already taken a Canvas class online, you might be familiar with pretty much all the tabs and how to find a lot of things, but it still doesn't take away from the fact that everybody is going to, the way that they put their structure for their class, it's going to be a little bit different for everyone. So I want to do this tutorial just so that way everybody knows where to find anything in my class. So basically, recent announcements, I'm going to go over that. You will have seen my welcome message that's already there. I have a week one tips and reminders. I will only post in recent announcements if it's something like if there's going to be some kind of major change, maybe I have to update something on the syllabus, or I might put announcements that the college sends out that they want us to make students aware of. I'll post things like that in the recent announcements section. So when you do log into Canvas and get into our classroom, you may want to briefly check here just to see if anything new has popped up for an announcement. But for the most part, as far as communication with students, I will actually send it to you by email. So that's the main way. I don't give out my phone number. I don't call students. Basically, email is going to be the way to get a hold of me and how I'm going to get in touch with you all. So what you're going to actually see when you're in our classroom, you're going to see different tabs over here that you can navigate. This is my screen as a professor. All of these things here that are muted, you're not going to see any of this in the student view. You're only going to see these ones right here that have nothing muted on them. And that's all you really need, because everything as far as your assignments, your lecture videos, everything like that is going to be right here in the weekly folders in the middle. And you're going to be able to click on everything. If you want to submit an assignment, you'll click on the assignment and you'll see how to submit it. There'll be directions every time you click on a tab. The lecture videos are going to be here. There's going to be other, instructionals and things like that you're going to see here in the weekly folders. So the only thing that you really need access to over here, you can go to announcements directly. You can check on your grades over here. And then you have the syllabus. So the syllabus is actually embedded into my Canvas course. So you don't have to print it if you don't want to. You can choose to print it if you would rather have it printed. But basically, you'd be able to log in and look at the syllabus anytime if you had a question about a policy or something like that. And there is going to be a syllabus assignment for week one. So just do make sure that you do read through the syllabus. I'm not going to go over it all with you all. I'm just going to basically allow students to read that. And then that way you can complete the syllabus assignment. And then you're also going to have access to the tutor.com tab that's over here. And tutor.com for Rose State College students is free up to a certain amount of hours. And if there is another class that you do need some additional support, like if you, need help with math or, writing, reading, anything like that, tutor.com is free for Rose State College students. And this is really great if you don't go to the campus for pretty much any of your classes. If you're mostly taking online classes, you can still get tutoring support and you don't necessarily have to go to the campus to do it. I do believe when you log into tutor.com and you make an account, and then you basically specify what you need help with, timeframes that you're able to do it. I do believe they will actually even talk to you over video to where you can actually, talk to a real person and you're getting, your help with tutoring that way. So it is pretty interactive and it does have a lot of different subjects and things that you can get help with if you need. So be sure to check that out if you do think at any of your classes that you need any additional support. That is really awesome that Rose State College gives that to you all for free. I think it's like 10 hours a week week or something like that. So it's pretty cool. So those are the tabs that you'll be able to access. But like I said, everything else, assignments, lecture videos, everything is going to be right here on the home screen. So basically, the video that you're currently watching, I haven't obviously posted it yet, but you would have found it right here in this first assignment, start here. I'm posting it there just so that way it calls attention to everyone. But then this first assignment, I put this here because I want to make sure that all students, at least within the first week, get this assignment done so you are in the class. And that way I can count you as having attended, and then I don't automatically withdraw you, because if you log into Canvas, but you don't actually participate and do anything active, and by that I mean actually submit an assignment or submit a discussion post. If you don't do anything, you're not actually going to be considered in attendance, and then you're going to get dropped from the class when it's time for me to submit AW grades. So if it's a 16-week class that you are in and you're viewing this, you have usually within that first 2 weeks of the semester starting to do any of your assignments, get it turned in, and then that way you're considered in attendance. If you're in an 8 weeks class, you usually only have that first week and that's it. And then we have to turn in AW grades after that first week for an 8 weeks class. So I just wanted you to be aware that you need to make sure you submit something. So this getting started discussion post is a very easy way for you to click on this. When you click on any of my tabs for an actual assignment, it'll pop up a screen and it will basically tell you the directions. It will tell you what you need to do, and it will tell you how you can submit it. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on it just so you can kind of see what it looks like basically when you click on a discussion post. So this pops up and you're going to see the instructions. This is what I'm asking you to type about in your discussion post. For any of my discussion posts, all you have to do when you're ready to actually type your answer basically is you just click on reply, and then a screen is going to pop up, and it kind of looks like an email screen where you can put in a title, and then you're going to have an area for the body where you can actually type your answer. And you're just basically going to type your answer. And then when you are satisfied with your answer, there's going to be a submission button that you can click on. It's usually, I think, a blue button that says submit. And then you click on that and it will actually submit your discussion post. It will then make your discussion post live where anybody in the class can see your discussion post. So just be aware anything that you post on a discussion post becomes public. But one thing that you will notice is that when you go into a discussion post, you can't see anybody else's answer until you've actually submitted your own discussion post. So I just do that on purpose so people don't tend to read through other people's discussion posts and get ideas for how they want to answer. And it keeps people from having their own original answer, because they might look at some of the other things that people have written and kind of go off of that and go, okay, that's what I'm supposed to write about. And they don't really think about it in their own terms and then, write it out in their own words, their own thoughts. So I do that to kind of keep people's posts original. And then once you do submit your discussion post, then you'll be able to see, after it's submitted and it pops up, you'll actually be able to see everybody else's answers at that point. And feel free, if you want to, with the discussion posts, feel free to respond to other students' discussion posts if you want to, because it's kind of a cool way to have some dialogue with some of the other students. Since it is an online class and you don't actually get to sit in a classroom with them and talk to them face to face, it's kind of a way for you to be able to just, if you want to, if there's something that you have in similar with that person with like their answer, or, just you like something about it, or even if you have, some alternate views on things, it's fine to kind of get a discussion going. You're not required to do this. It's not a part of your grade to respond to other people's discussion posts, but feel free to do it if you feel like that's something that you want to answer to and you kind of want to just get a little discussion going with other people. That is perfectly fine. And I do encourage it. I just don't grade you off of responding to other people's posts. So don't feel like it's, required that you have to do that. But basically, this is what any of the discussion posts look like. It'll have all of the instructions, and then you just hit reply to start typing your answer. It's really easy. I do a lot of different assignments as a discussion post, aside from things that you have to do as assignments out of the book. So I'm going to go back to our home screen. Let's see. Okay, so now that we're back here on the home screen, that first assignment, that discussion post, is just a really good, easy way for you to go ahead and do something, get your attendance in for the online class. So then that way you are in attendance and I don't have to, drop you if you accidentally forget to do any of the other assignments. This one's a real easy one to do. And then basically from this point on, every folder going through my class is basically what I call or refer to as a weekly folder. So you just basically need to see the date and be aware of what week we're in. And then when you see here like week 1, which is the current week that you start the semester, I'll have the date breakdown. Obviously, if I'm posting this video for another class and not this specific class, the dates will be different on here, but basically it's going to be the same format. So for this particular class, all of the assignments are always going to be due on a Sunday. So I open up the weekly folder on a Monday, unless the semester starts on a different day, like a Tuesday or something, which does happen sometimes. But in general, every single week, the folder will open on Monday at midnight, basically. And then you have the entire week to do basically watch the lecture videos, do any of the reading out of the textbook that you need to do, and then complete the assignments that are due for that week. And then you get them submitted, and you have until Sunday at 11:59 p.m. to get them submitted to be considered on time. If you do have to turn something in late, I still accept late assignments throughout the whole entire semester, and I encourage you to still submit things if you fall behind or something comes up and you can't submit something on time, because stuff does happen. Still turn in assignments, even if you're turning them in late, because all I do is basically, if it's turned in, if it's due on a Sunday and you don't turn it in until a few days later or however long later, all I do is basically deduct 10% off of that automatically. If you get other things wrong on the assignment, just because maybe you didn't complete something correctly or whatever the case may be, you might get additional points taken off. But in general, just for submitting something late, it's just a 10% reduction. So in all reality, it may not affect your grade hardly at all. If there's a few times that you end up having to submit something late, that is fine. Don't panic about that. Go ahead and get it submitted. It's probably not going to overall affect your grade unless you're turning in every single assignment late. That by the time the semester is through, that might affect your grade with 10% reductions if you're turning in everything late. But if you have to do it a few times just because something comes up, it's not anything to panic about, because I know some students get worried about whether they have to turn something in late. Is it going to affect their grade? And overall, that 10% deduction really does not affect your grade that greatly. So just go ahead and turn it in. There's something about, like, sometimes students, they just won't turn anything at all because they just kind of figure, oh, it's late, I'm going to get a deduction. Why am I going to take the time to do this assignment? It's worth it, because when you start missing assignments in my class, that's when people basically start seeing that their grades are starting to get affected overall, because they're missing a lot of points because they're just not completing assignments, whether it's because they fell behind and they're like moving on and decide not to complete an assignment. And it's not worth it to do that in my class the way that I have it structured. You want to get things turned in. And aside from that, a lot of my assignments and assignments that I assign out of the book, they build off of each other. So if you're not doing some of the assessments or some of the assignments, and then we move into another chapter and I'm referring back to some of these assignments for you to kind of reflect on when you're answering a current assignment. If you're skipping assignments and not doing them because you had to turn them in late, so you just decide not to do them at all, you're actually doing yourself another disservice, because you may need that information in order to be able to answer questions in the current week. So just be aware of that. That way you're kind of keeping yourself on the right track. Don't skip assignments. If something has to be turned in late, still do it. Still get it turned in, because it's going to help you overall, not only your grade, but also help you with other assignments that you have to do if we have to refer back to some of those assignments that you might have skipped. So that's my little other tip for this class. But other than that, for this week, right here for week 1, basically, I do have the Rater email login instructions. You do need to be able to use your Rater email for my class, because that is how I am going to get a hold of you. That is how you're going to get a hold of me. Don't email me from your personal email accounts, because that's just, in my opinion, that's not the way we're going to do things in the college environment. You need to email me from your college email. It is a free email. If you haven't used it yet and never actually set it up, these are the instructions right here that you click on this. It's going to have instructions step by step what you need to do to get your account set up for your Rater email. If you get stuck or something isn't working, you can't do the username or something's not working correctly, there is a phone number for our IT department on that post when you click on this. And that will actually be, you can call them and they can walk you through it step by step or help you with any other kind of issues you might have getting your Rater email to work. If you've already logged into your Rater email and you've used it and you know how to get into it and you're able to access it, just make sure you're checking your email at least a couple of times a week, because I'm going to every single week, you're probably going to get at least one email from me that has important information that you need to know for the week, or if I have to make changes to something, whatever the case may be, it's almost always going to be by email that I'm going to contact you. So, and most of my emails are going to be a mass email to the entire class. It's not necessarily going to be me emailing people one-on-one. It's going to be a major email that goes to everyone in the class all at one time with any important information or updates. So just make sure you can get into your Rater email. You do have an assignment for week 1 that is based off of you using your email. So just be aware of that. Make sure right away when you're starting the class and you're in week 1, make sure your Rater email is functioning. You can also, after you set up your Rater email, you can also go over here to the inbox. And if you click on that, that will actually also open up your Rater email once you've gotten it all set up. And then you can actually just check your emails right here from Canvas. So that's kind of convenient as well. So just be aware that once you have that set up, this is a really easy way to get to your email also. You have an online etiquette assignment for week 1. I'm just kind of going over the assignments briefly, just so you kind of know like what we're doing, what's going to be due for this week. When you click on this assignment, I'm just going to kind of go ahead and briefly go through them. It has the instructions. It's asking you to answer something right here, but make sure you read the instructions in full. Most of the people that miss things or get assignments incorrect in my class are the ones that did not read the directions thoroughly. So make sure you're reading directions thoroughly. Don't just skim through instructions, because you're going to miss something and then you're going to get points taken off. So read through this, read what it's asking you to answer. And then right here, I have a link that you click on. It's a PDF link. Most smartphones can open a PDF document, and most, laptops and things like that can as well. So click on that link and read it. It's like a paragraph. It comes from chapter 6 of our textbook. Chapter 6 goes over online learning. And one of the aspects of online learning that is very important that I make sure people understand for my class is etiquette. There is a certain kind of online etiquette that sometimes people are not aware of. And I've had a lot of issues with online classes with people that don't really understand how they're supposed to communicate with people properly online in order to be respectful, in order to, get your point across, but not necessarily come off where you're attacking people or being aggressive. Understanding that there's a certain amount of respect. If you want me to be respectful to you, you also have to do the same for me. So, it goes over how you are, etiquette with how you respond and talk to your professors, but it also goes over how you discuss and have, interactions online with fellow classmates. And it's got some other information on there that's really good. Make sure you read that paragraph before you, click on reply, because this is another discussion post. So make sure you open this link, read that paragraph, and then go ahead and answer this right here. You'll just click on reply. It'll pop up that message box where you can actually type in your answer and then submit it. And that will take care of that assignment right there. Let's go back to the home screen so we can go back to the week 1 folder. And then after all of that, if you've completed, I'm going to wait for this to load. Okay. So if you have completed this first assignment, this week 1 getting started discussion, you complete the syllabus assignment. So remember I said your syllabus is right here. When you click on the syllabus assignment, it's going to give you instructions. It's asking you to answer a certain set of questions that have to do specifically with my syllabus. So you have to make sure you read the syllabus, and then you'll go on here and click and answer it. It's another discussion post. Actually, let me make sure it is a discussion post before I tell you it is one, but I'm pretty sure. Yes, it is. Oh no, it's a file upload. Okay. So I'm going to have to update that because this is actually supposed to be a discussion post. So I'm going to update this. It will be a discussion post. It's going to have all of this on there, but it's going to be a discussion post. So you won't have to actually upload a document there. So I must have copied over the wrong syllabus assignment. So I will fix that. But anyway, that one's going to be a discussion post that you'll need to read the syllabus in order to do that. So this one, the syllabus assignment, the online etiquette assignment. And then after you've completed all of that, Then you want to click on the online proficiency assignment. Do all of these first within week 1, then click on this online proficiency assignment, because the online proficiency assignment is requiring that those other assignments are completed first. Here are all the directions. It looks confusing, but I kind of do this on purpose because the point of this actual assignment is to make sure that students can read directions. You can go step by step, and you can make sure that you're basically checking off all of these different things that I'm asking you to do. Once you've completed all of these things that I'm asking you to do in this post, all you're going to do is there's going to be, it's not showing it on my view, but there is going to be a little tab that you can click on where you can basically open a text entry box, and it's going to just be a box that you can basically type in, just like a message basically. And all you're going to do after you've completed all of these tasks, you're going to open that text entry box and you're going to just basically type in, I have completed all of the week 1 assignments. And it has all of that here that you need, what you need to type in, how you need to do that. But just be aware, the whole issue with me telling you about your Rater email, that's a part of this assignment as well. And also make sure that you are able to log into your Oasis account. So Oasis, if you're not familiar with what I'm talking about, Oasis is the program that Rose State College uses for you to do things like add classes, drop classes. You can check on your financial aid in Oasis, things like that. That's what Oasis is for. And so it's oasis.rose.edu if you're going to type that into your address bar on your computer or even on your phone. And when you go to that, there's going to be a login page. I do believe your username is what your student ID number is. And then if you've already set up a password, I believe it's the same as what you're going to use for your Rater email. It'll have that same password. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. That's at least what it is for me. I have to use basically the same password that I use for my email. And then once you get logged into it, the homepage is going to pop up, and you just need to take a screenshot of your Oasis homepage, whether you take a picture of it with your phone and then send it to me that way, or whether you use the screenshot function on your computer. But basically, you're going to take a screenshot of your login page of Oasis, and then you're going to email it to me from your Rater email account. That's one part of this online proficiency assignment, aside from doing all of the week 1 assignments that I've already kind of gone over. You're going to email me. Basically, it's going to be an attachment of your screenshot of your homepage of Oasis. You're going to email that to me, and then I'm going to flag it in my email so I can basically refer back to it and check and make sure that you actually sent me something from your Rater email. Just make sure you attach your screenshot of your Oasis login page, and then basically that's going to show me that you are able to use your Rater email. It's functioning. You can log into your Oasis account. That is functioning, and that you're also basically you were able to complete all of the week 1 assignments. That's when you're going to go here on this online proficiency assignment after you've done all of those things, and then basically let me know in the text entry box that you've completed everything for week 1. And then that way you'll get your 10 points for this assignment. But on top of that, if you've done all of these things, and you have to do them all in week 1, they've got to be submitted before the Sunday at 11:59 p.m. If you've done all of these things, the assignments, sent me your Rater email with your Oasis login page as an attachment, and then you also on here responded to the text entry box and let me know that you've completed everything, you'll get your 10 points for this assignment, and you're also going to get 5 bonus points. So you're just going to get 5 bonus points for basically showing me you can follow directions, complete everything in a timely manner. And yeah, you'll get 5 bonus points for that. And that basically just, it's helpful because I don't offer a lot of bonus points assignments. So definitely take advantage of the few times that I do offer them, because those could be, that could be your way for, like, if you don't do well on a midterm or something, getting yourself up to a better grade on the midterm overall, because you have bonus points available to you that are basically going to boost your grade a little bit. So there'll be a few other times that I'll offer something for bonus points, but that's just a very easy one, completing all the week 1 assignments and then making sure you're following the directions on what to do for the online proficiency assignment. All right. And then basically after that, the only real other things I kind of want to go over, you do have a calendar in Canvas that you can use. So over here on the right-hand side, right now it's not showing anything because none of these folders are unlocked yet. And once they're unlocked and there's a due date present for some assignment, you're actually going to see here, you're going to have a calendar that's going to show you assignments that are due, the date that they're due. If there's an assignment that you still have that you haven't completed, but it's late, it's going to actually flag it and show you that it's a late assignment. So you're going to be aware if it's a current assignment or a late assignment. But basically you have this as another tool to kind of give you a visual and something to kind of keep you on track. And I highly recommend for online classes that if you don't use a day planner, but if you use maybe like the calendar on your phone and you can schedule appointments and things on there, if there's anything in the class or if it helps keep you organized and keep you on track to put things in your calendar when they're due, and then that way, they might send you some alerts here and there to help you remember, oh, this is coming up and this is something that's due. It's really useful, especially if you're the type of person that has a little bit of trouble with time management or just being organized with classes like this, because an online class is really going to be dependent on you being self-motivated. You have to basically keep yourself on track. You have to keep track of dates yourself. You're not sitting in a classroom where I'm constantly, telling you in the class, this is coming up, this is due next week, whatever. It's all right there for you to read. And if you're not keeping track of it really well, somehow that works for you, you're going to get behind really quickly. So if something like this will help you stay organized and will give you reminders, use your phone calendar or that reminder app and put in anything that's due for the week and have it start sending you alerts when, you're a few days away from the due date. And that might help remind you and kind of keep it fresh on your mind so you don't forget like, oh, I've got stuff that's due by Sunday, especially until you get used to the class and when you're supposed to turn things in and doing all of that. So that little calendar function that you will see on your page is going to be kind of useful for some people. I'm going to go ahead and click over to the student view just so you can basically see what your Canvas room looks like compared to mine. So see, you don't see that stuff that I had muted over here. You basically can only see these few tabs that you really ever need to refer to in my class. You can see the announcements and then the weekly folders. And I'm just showing you this basically because I will only usually unlock 1 week at a time. I will not unlock several weeks out for people to work ahead, mainly because it starts to get confusing for some students. And also it starts to get confusing for me because if people are submitting things 2 or 3 weeks ahead of time and I've got things coming in that are being submitted from there, and then I'm trying to focus on the things that I actually do need to grade for 1 week, it starts to get pretty confusing and it just kind of starts to turn into a mess. So I've just basically limited it to where I only open the current week at a time. It'll open on Monday at midnight and it'll basically, everything will be due by that Sunday. I do not lock the weekly folders after they're open. They will remain open. So that's why you'll still be able to submit things late if you have to submit it late, but you're just not going to be able to actually click on any of these weekly folders until it is set to unlock. So you'll be able to see because it's going to tell you right here what day it's going to unlock and what time. So for example, these ones are all going to unlock on January 21st at 12 a.m. So just be aware of that. If you see something that looks like this in your on your page, but you can't click on anything and you're not sure why, that's why. It's just because it hasn't unlocked yet. And once it unlocks, you'll be able to access all of those things. So other than that, that's pretty much our classroom in a nutshell. I went over the week 1 assignments. If you're confused about anything after, watching this and looking at any of the assignments, if you're confused about anything, send me an email. I am more than happy to respond to you and answer questions or try to kind of guide you through some stuff because it'll be a little confusing right at first, but don't worry about it. Don't get overwhelmed. Just ask the questions that you need to ask and then, you'll get through it. And after you've done a couple of weeks of this, it will definitely start to get easier. So I am going to leave the student view and go back to my view. The only other thing I just kind of wanted to let you know about assignments in my class, if it's not a discussion post, if it's an actual assignment that is out of the book, you will need to basically be able to either take photos of your work, or if you have a scanner, you can use a scanner. But if it's a textbook assignment, most students basically they handwrite their assignments because the textbook has actual exercises in it that you can basically, write on your exercises and then submit. Since it's an online class, you're going to either have to use your phone and take a photo of any of your handwritten assignments, or if you have a scanner, you can scan it. And then basically when you go to the actual assignment tab and you click on it and it's asking you to upload a document, That's where you're going to upload your picture attachment. Some students, if they, for whatever reason, if taking a photo just doesn't work really well for them, it might be like the equipment that they have. Some students also choose to use like Microsoft Word, and then they will actually just basically take their exercise and type out their answers and things to an exercise on a Microsoft Word document and then upload that attachment, a Word document attachment instead of a picture attachment. And that's okay too. Basically, anytime if you are going to not work directly out of the book and answer things on the actual textbook assignment, you need to make sure that you are actually typing out the questions and then your answers, because then it helps me when I'm grading to actually see the full picture. Because if I just see some of the answers and I don't actually see the context of like what it is you're answering, it's not only confusing to me, but it's not very helpful for me to really see what it is you're answering and what your answer is pertaining to. So just make sure if you choose to type things out on a Microsoft Word document, or if you choose to write it out by hand, like on a notebook paper and take a picture of it, make sure you're including whatever question it is that you're answering and then your answer. And yeah, that's about it. I just wanted to go over that real quick for anything that's requiring you to actually submit an attachment rather than you just typing in a discussion post. So, all right, I think that is it. This is probably long enough, but I wanted to make sure I kind of went over everything to get everybody on the right foot. If you have any questions, email me, but yep, that should pretty much be it. So this is week 1. And then in week 2, when we start next Monday for week 2, you're going to actually see a lecture video that's pertaining to the first chapter that we get started in our textbook. So, and don't worry about that if by week 2 you still don't have your textbook. I've got you covered for up to chapter 2. So for the first 2 or 3 weeks, basically, I help out. I've scanned some of the assignments and things like that. So that way people can still keep up with the class if they don't have their financial aid yet, or if they haven't been able to get their textbook. Just make sure by week 3, you're really trying to get your textbook, because you're going to need it for this class. There is no way to successfully complete this class if you do not have your textbook. And then also just one more little thing. If you are having trouble getting a textbook or whatever the case may be aware that the library on campus they usually have at least 2 copies of the current textbook for the College Life and Strategies class. So you can go to campus. Like if you're there for another class anyway and you already have to go on campus, the library does usually have a couple of copies of our textbook that you can check out. And I think they let you check it out for about 2 hours at a time. So you can actually check out the textbook if you want to read the chapter and just do the assignments really quickly there at the library. I mean, that's just another option for some people, and that's at least to help keep you afloat until you can actually get your textbook. And also be aware, if you are trying to save some money, always check on stuff like half.com, chegg.com. You can sometimes rent our textbook. You don't even necessarily have to buy the textbook. You could rent it for the semester for much cheaper than buying it. So you do have options if you're trying to save a little bit of money and you don't want to spend the money on like, the new textbook version or whatever that you get out of the bookstore. You do have options to like rent it. I think Amazon.com has them for rent too, and they'll usually rent it to you for the entire semester. You just can't write in them, but hey, that's another option for you too. So check those out. All right, I'm done talking. Welcome to week 1, and I will see you all next week.